Warren Redlick, we're going to talk about Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, Elon Musk, Tesla, a whole bunch of stuff to talk about here. The 2026 midterm elections, what just happened with the Epstein list, the Epstein files was pretty surprising. And we'll start with and I just, for those who don't know, there's a lot of pictures with Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. So a lot of questions about which very successful people were on the Epstein list. So Elon respond the news that let me hit the news first. So if you go back, Pam Bondi had said the Epstein client list is on my desk to review. I think she had something like there were 10,000 videos of men having sex with underage girls, and she just said, "Yeah, there's no client list. We don't have anything there. We don't have any evidence to prosecute anybody." Like, what? Huh? What are we talking about here? This is crazy. So, um, so Elon, hi B, nice to see you. So Elon says, "What's the time?" Oh, it's a no one has been arrested o'clock time. The official Jeffrey Epstein pedophile arrest counter. Because Elon had taken a shot at Trump earlier when Trump was taking shots at him, and he suggested that Trump is on the Epstein list. So somebody mentioned something. If there was any evidence the other side could use against the other, it would be plastered all over everything. And Elon said, unless both sides are guilty. And I tied this back to what really connects to DOGE in the 2026 election that I'm going to talk about soon, which is why Republicans aren't dismantling the NGO networks. DOGE uncovered this nested network of, I don't think it was just DOGE, but they uncovered, hi Vern, they uncovered this network of non-governmental organizations that were just squandering money. The federal government would have a $2 billion budget for something, they'd give it to an NGO. The NGO would then give it to 5 different NGOs, but they would keep like 200 million for themselves. Each of the NGOs would give it to another network of NGOs, all keeping money for themselves. And out of the $2 billion, maybe 200 million would go to the intended purpose. And a lot of money would get stolen. Daniel, or we can talk about AI. Daniel, if you stay with me to the end, we can talk about AI job displacement, but that's not going to fit the topic tonight because we got 2 topics tonight. We're going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein and what this means for and DOGE and what it means for the 2026 midterms. And then we're going to talk about drama within the Tesla community about Elon starting the America Party. So I just said, that's why the Republicans aren't dismantling the NGO networks. And Elon said the fundamental impediment to shutting down many of the fraudulent NGOs was that some Republicans were in on the crime. Okay. This is going to play into the 2026 election. So we'll talk about this now. We're going to dive into Epstein more. Let's talk about the NGO issue. Okay. Because a lot of people are criticizing, when we get to the next part of the video, you're going to see like Alex from Germany, who's a sort of pro-Tesla guy, but has Trump derangement syndrome. And they're like, oh, DOGE wasn't worth doing. DOGE was absolutely spectacular because Elon got the inside information on where they're hiding the money. He got the inside information of who's in on the scam. This is going to be tremendously valuable information in the 2026 midterms. It may be valuable in the 2028 election as well. Being able to, he's got receipts. When you're running, what I see coming in 2026 is the America Party will run, 10 House candidates, 5 Senate candidates, something like that. It won't be overwhelming. They'll identify specific races they think they can win, either because the incumbent is vulnerable, which happens a lot. There might be an incumbent, and it'd be about 50-50 Democrat-Republican seats. The goal is to make sure neither party has a majority, not to give the Democrats a majority, not to give the Republicans a majority. It's to make sure neither party has a majority. So now the America Party is a potential player in resolving things. So imagine you have a vulnerable incumbent and you run, okay, great. What if you have a vulnerable incumbent and you have receipts on that they were in on the NGO fraud? Now, a week before the election, you drop the bomb in everybody's mailboxes. Here's the proof. This guy was in on the scam. His family got $100 million in NGO money from the government, right? And then they might even not be that vulnerable. They might not appear that vulnerable, but it may be good enough. You may have juicy enough stuff that you can knock off somebody who doesn't appear vulnerable. This is how big this is. This is why this is such a big deal. So I think that's going to play out in the 2026 election. It may even carry forward to the 2028 election. Now, Elon says some Republicans were in on the crime. This is an interesting question. Like, who's in on this crime? Because there's a lot of money being stolen. There's the famous one is Stacey Abrams got like $2 billion to like help people in some town convert their washing machine to a more efficient washing machine, and they helped like 100 people for $2 billion. I think the EPA clawed some of that money back, but that was weird. That was weird. Thank you, Mark. Glad to see you here. So, going back to the Epstein thing, and the critical thing here is this is the Trump coalition, the MAGA Trump Republican coalition coalesced around a few things. There were a few things they were really upset about. And if you go back to February, Pam Bondi says the Epstein client list is on my desk to review. We've got 10,000 videos, whatever. We've got all this stuff. We're going to move forward. And now in July, there's no client list. There's no client list. We don't have any evidence. We can't prosecute anybody. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison because I had enough evidence to prosecute her. Well, why is she in prison if they can't identify any of the men who were involved in this? Vern says, where does the money really come from? It's federal money. The federal government gives money to the NGOs and spreads it around. So Jeremy says, are there any possibilities other than these two? The Trump administration has been lying about the Epstein list for months, or the American government is compromised. And so this is the thing. And I'm going to show you this. Well, we'll hit on Dan Bongino too. Dan Bongino says from the FBI, Trump FBI says, we're doubling down, no letting up, and we're going after locking up criminals on the streets. Bongino is one of the guys, he was on like, I don't know if it was Rogan or some other podcast saying Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset for the United States. Like this guy, there's so many of these people who were Trump appointees to the positions that should be addressing this who are now covering it up. So the FBI is back to the basics. He says we're doubling down, no letting out. They're back to the basics, covering up the crimes of the wealthy and powerful, and they're doubling down on it now. So this is an example of it. Gunther Eagleman is like this, hardcore MAGA, Christian MAGA, whatever. And he's like right now, so this is an example of where the Trump coalition is breaking. Okay. Right now, my trust in government is at 0. On my desk and truck full is what we were told. The lies are blatant. Someone has some explaining to do. People have to go to jail. Right? He's streaming. We were being lied to. The FBI has the names of every person who attended January 6th, but they can't find names of anyone who raped children on any of Epstein properties or islands. They're all liars. He's just reposting somebody else. Documents were on your desk. You said it, not us. Cover up is real. What kind of country would allow children to be brutally raped on an island? The elite pedophiles who rape children on Epstein's island are going to get away with it, aren't they? Pedophiles who rape children on Epstein's island are above the law. Our government said so. Gunther's pissed. Michael Schellenberger is a great journalist. I think he was in on the Twitter file stuff. He talked to somebody in the intelligence community. This is a total disaster. A senior person in the intelligence community told us today in response to our questions about Justice Department's cover-up of the Epstein files. If people think this is going to weigh the official edit, I don't see how it can. I mean, there's a lot of people in the Trump coalition who are expecting prosecutions. They don't like children being raped. They don't like children being trafficked to an island somewhere and being raped, right? Strangely, there's people who think that's wrong. Obviously not in the Democratic Party, but some people in the Republican Party thought that was wrong. And so, Michael Schellenberger is saying Congress must demand Trump administration must provide the Epstein files. They're hiding the files. And you'll see there's MAGA who are upset and there's MAGA who are coping. So Joey says the only person in the government I remotely trust is Donald Trump. I trust no one else except for no, Trump's in on it. Like, what, are you on the Epstein list? Is that why you're like, at some point you got to hold Trump accountable. Brendan here says he's attacking Elon. MAGA embraced you, blah, blah, blah. Brendan Dilly, Delocrat. I don't know what the Delocrat is. Delocrat leads are in meltdown mode over President Trump's first week in office. Wait until he randomly releases the Epstein client list. Y'all have begun to see panic. Why is Trump protecting why is Trump protecting the Democrat elites, Brendan? This guy's pure MAGA. He's angry at Elon for forming a third party. Well, you wanted something with the Epstein client list. Where is it? Let's see. I'm going to go back to this in a second. If they found the leverage, maybe it's worth more to Trump's team to continue to use the leverage. No, no, no. They said there's nothing there. You're done. You can't bring it up now. They have an official document from the FBI saying there's no list and there's no useful evidence. How can you use it after that? The heat and pressure of the day's charge opinions. What? I don't know. The Federal Reserve is a cartel of banks. Yeah, thank you. This is generation's version of the letting them get away with it without any arrests, like the 2008 financial crisis. Another good one. Okay, so then there's Terrence. There's a two-parter here. Terrence for months released the damn file, sick of waiting, post them on X for all I care. Trump gave the okay. Just upload everything for everyone to see. None of these sick individuals. Someone better go to jail on that Epstein list. If not, what's the point? I want to see arrests and convictions. Can we talk about the Epstein list? Was I supposed to forget about it? Oprah's on the Epstein list. And then he says, Pam Bondi said it was on his disc for her fair to people to call her out. She shouldn't have said that if it wasn't on her list. Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison if there are no clients? And does that mean Jeffrey Epstein never committed a crime since there are no clients and no victims? When you heard the news, there's no Epstein list. What's the first thing that came to your mind? I think it's BS. Release the Epstein list. We're not idiots. So this guy is hardcore Trump. This guy's hardcore Trump. And Gunther Egerman, hardcore Trump. And they're like, wait a minute. You were supposed to read. Now, I think Terrence is going to, what I think you're going to see is they're going to somehow let it pass on Trump, and they're going to blame Bondi, and they're going to blame Kash Patel, because Kash Patel's, Indian American or whatever. They'll look for it. And of course, my favorite person on the Epstein thing, back in February, there was talk that the Epstein files are going to be released. Attorney General Bondi has said this would include on the client list. Donald Trump Jr., let's go. Trump Jr. is on board with the, hey, we need to release the Epstein files. And gosh, what happened to the Epstein files? This is not looking good. I think this is a serious problem for the Republican Party. It's a serious problem for President Trump. And on the bright side, for those of us who are Elon fans, Elon was taking all this heat for, the third party thing, for being involved in politics. Hey, I thought you were out of politics, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Elon, you're hurting Tesla. And now no one's talking about Elon and the third party. A little bit. But now it's like everybody's talking about the Epstein list. Now, and I should mention, I looked at the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, LA Times. They're all hiding the Epstein. They mention the Epstein story, but it's like story number 17 on their website. Like, okay, give you the Texas storm's got to be number 1, but the Epstein list thing should be number 2. I'm not even sure the Texas flooding story should be number 1. The Epstein story should be number 1. And it's like they're hiding it, and New York Times was like a soft version of the story. Like, you could have gone after Trump. They could have gone after Trump, and they didn't go. Why? Because the New York Times is on the list. There's New York Times people on the list. Is it possible Trump and Elon are playing a long game to flush rhinos? I think it's very unlikely that Elon and Trump are working together on this, on what's going on with the third party, and with Epstein and with DOGE. I don't think they're working together. No. So let's turn to the second topic of tonight, of this live stream. It's night for me, so I was going to say tonight's live stream. Farzad. So that you have this, Elon third party thing. One of the things that happens is when something happens with Elon, you have drama queens pop up out of nowhere. You get all the, I have a big following on X. Farzad has a big following on X. You got comments on YouTube, and people start saying, oh no, Elon is screwing Tesla. Oh, my stock is going to fall because Elon, blah, blah, blah. And look, I've been in this game since 2016. You'll see that post in a minute. Like, riding Tesla is a roller coaster, whether it's Elon or not. Whether Elon does something or not, riding Tesla is a roller coaster. And whining about, Elon did something in the stock. Like, did this affect Robotaxi? Did this affect Optimus? Did this affect, production? Did this affect 4680? Did this affect Tesla Semi? Like, what are you talking about? Elon's farm? No, who cares? He bought X. Who cares? They panicked about Elon buying X. Oh, Elon needs to be a full-time CEO at Tesla. Are you nuts? He's never been a full-time CEO at Tesla. He started SpaceX and Tesla together. He's 50-50 there. So there's all this drama. So Farzad flips. Okay. And I like Farzad, but Farzad is one of the weakest when it comes to this. He doesn't really understand, even though he worked at Tesla, he doesn't get the history, and he's too soft. And to me, it's like, look, you believe in Elon or you don't. If you don't believe in Elon, why the hell are you invested in Tesla? right? He's the core of the company. Yeah, if 24 hours later, now all of a sudden this is a comment in the chat. 24 hours later, everyone be like, third party sounding better and better. Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to prosecute child rape, like how good is your party if you're going to let child rapists get away with it? Okay, so Farzad said, and there will be a lot of pressure on if we going into the midterms and Tesla still hasn't delivered on robotaxi, but I think there will be a lot of pressure on Elon to execute on the vision. And imagine how the media, because the media will take stuff that we say and they will take it out of context. And he like got mad at me for what I said here. He says, I said, media, Tesla expert says Elon faces a lot of pressure. And he got mad for me for mischaracterizing what he said. No, see the top, it says media. The media is going to Farzad is a bigger count than me. Right? They love jumping on, the Tesla fans are jumping on Elon's throat. They're attacking Elon now. Like this could get spun against Elon. This is what happens, what the media does. When you spout off like this, the media will go after Elon and use it against Elon. So but Elon faces a lot of pressure. Like Elon has never faced pressure before? Are you guys kidding me? Why would Elon faces a lot of pressure be an issue? And if he hasn't delivered on robotaxi bot, robotaxi? It's already started. Like what do you need? It's going to grow. It's going to take time. The first robotaxis already started doing rides. Farzad rode in them. He's in Austin. He rode in them. But wait for it. This time is different. This time the pressure's real. And I made a joke earlier about going Gerber, never go full Gerber. And Farzad's starting to go Gerber. But he hasn't gone full Gerber yet, just to be clear. I still have hope for Farzad. But there's more. He accused me of mischaracterizing his words. Like, no, this is what legacy media will do with your words. You should know this. And then I said, do you really think the America Party is a bigger risk than the fourth Falcon 1 launch or the Model 3 launch and ramp? And then I was rude. Grow a pair. I'm occasionally rude. And he said, do I think a political party that a political party that will aim to stop decades of corruption, the gravy train of trillions of dollars being siphoned from the taxpayer by the most powerful people in the world is more risky than Model 3 ramp and the fourth Falcon 1 launch? That can't be a serious question, can it? Okay, so now this is where you have to know the history of Tesla. And in another post that I don't think is in my slides, I mentioned this. Starting an electric vehicle company with the goal of transitioning to sustainable energy, can you think of any other gravy train of trillions of dollars? Like oil? Gasoline? Jack Rickard, the late Jack Rickard, and I think the Now You Know channel did a video on this as well, talked about that the oil industry makes like $2 trillion in cash every year from the flow of oil, from people buying gas for their cars. So if EVs come along and EVs take away that gravy train, right? Now imagine you're the oil companies. The way Rickard put it was like, if you could slow it down by 6 months, it's $1 trillion. How much would you spend? If you were getting $1 trillion every 6 months? How much would you spend if you thought you could slow down the electric vehicle revolution by 6 months? You'd spend hundreds of billions of dollars. And they've slowed it down for years. They've made $10 trillion by slowing this stuff down, right? They've spent hundreds of billions of dollars trying to stop Tesla, trying to stop other EVs, trying to get governments to interfere. What did Trump just do? Took away the EV credits, didn't take away fossil fuel subsidies. You think Trump got bought? We know Trump's for sale. He sold Trevor Milton. He sold Trevor Milton a pardon. He sold a guy named Paul Walzak a pardon. Trump's for sale. And people say, Elon's the richest man in the world. Elon has money. But, what does Elon have in cash? A couple billion, 3 billion maybe free cash? We don't know how much. He probably doesn't even have a lot of free cash. But the oil companies, the oil industry, the, Saudis and Qatar, they got $1 trillion in cash lying around. They can buy politicians. We know Qatar's been buying America, been buying American universities. So, and do you seriously not remember how risky the Model 3 ramp and the fourth Falcon 1 launch were? Fourth Falcon 1 launch was it. And if you got to read the books, you got to read Liftoff, you got to read Walter Isaacson's biography. Like, this is nothing compared to the stuff Elon's been through. And Farzad's acting like a massive drama queen here. Like I said, I have hope for Farzad. I think Farzad will course correct and he'll get back. But He's taking those steps towards Gerberism. You know, the Tesla board's got to, rein Elon in. You're going to see that coming with Dan Ives. I call him Dan Ives. Then we got Randy, and I've been on Randy's channel a lot. And we find out in the course of Randy's posts recently, Randy said that he said he has 5% and he's been 5% in Tesla. And everybody's like, what? You have a whole channel devoted to Tesla and you only 5% of your portfolio is in Tesla? Like, I'm all in, right? People give me a hard time because before the shareholder vote, I sold 20% because I thought the shareholders might vote no, bought back in right away. And like, oh, you sold. I was still 80% in. What were you in? How much do you have in Tesla? Don't give me like a you sold thing. I was still 80% in, right? He's 5% in. And he's like, Elon, you need to build a massive solar power gigafactory. Build more megafactories. Megafactories making megapacks. Get to your proposed 1 terawatt hour of Elon power as fast as possible. He wants Elon to cook and save the economy. And this is just nonsense. This is, because Randy has his head so far up Trump's ass, he can't see how dumb this is. A solar panel factory would be very low margin. It might be necessary, and this is something a lot of people don't know, because Trump's tariffs make Chinese solar panels too expensive. China makes massive quantities of solar panels. They want to give us solar panels cheap. Take them. We don't make our own solar panels. I can understand. I don't agree with it. I can understand. We have an industry that competes with their industry. We put a tariff on their vehicles. Let's say they're EVs. I think we should have Chinese EVs in America. But all right, their Chinese EVs would undercut more American gas cars. It wouldn't undercut Tesla. And so we got to protect American industry from Chinese EVs, let's say. Okay, well, that could make sense, but we don't make solar panels. Why? We don't make solar cells. We don't make solar panels. We don't have any significant industry making solar. We don't have any plans to make solar. Why don't we buy as many Chinese solar panels as we can? Why are we making it hard to buy Chinese solar? If you want to expand energy, if you want to grow the economy, you need to grow energy. And if you have a low-cost source of energy, take it. But the oil companies don't want the competition from solar. The utility companies don't want all this other solar coming in there. There's a whole set of vested interests that don't really want solar to grow. They don't really want energy to go because they're happy with things the way they are. So it's not, Elon can't just build a solar factory. There's so much going on there. How long? Even Elon did talk about it, but how long would it take to build the supply chain for that? I mean, Elon moves fast, but you're talking 2 years minimum for that to ramp. And they haven't even started building it yet, right? Once you open the factory, it's 18 months to ramp. So you're talking 2-3 years before you have any meaningful solar panel production. Come on. And, there's so many China, Trump should just dump the tariff on solar panels and bring as many in as we can. Like, well, how is this bad for America? Like I said, if there was an American industry that was making solar cells, okay, I could see the point. I wouldn't approve of it, but I could see it. But they're not competing with anybody. Let them make as many as they want. If they want to subsidize their industry and give us low-cost solar panels, take them. What's the XP in the chat? I don't know what XP is. I don't know what that is. I don't see an XP, so I don't know how to answer that. Mega factories need LFP cells. Tesla has an LFP factory, but it's going to be 10 gigawatt hours. And then they'll grow. They will grow out lithium iron phosphate production. That's going to take time. And Trump's policies are getting in the way. They're making it harder for companies, not just Tesla, for companies to do solar projects, to do battery projects. The Trump team is screwing this stuff. Trump is blocking Tesla's growth path and XAI's growth path as well. We can't solve AI without massively scaling electricity generation to power the AI clusters. So Trump has been bought by the fossil fuel lobby and the utilities and whatever other special interests. Thank you, Vern. All right. So how does Elon get to 25% voting control? I'm not going to talk about voting control. That's like a inside baseball thing. Go to Alexandra, Tesla boomer mommer for that stuff. That's not my topic. I don't even think Alexandra's that concerned about that one right now. Okay. So Chris says our losses in the range of 61 to 71 billion dollars US dollars as we're taking the hit for Elon Musk. Not nice. Did you lose money? I didn't lose money. My half joke about this is you can't lose if you don't sell. If you did not sell stock at the bottom, then you didn't lose any money. You only lose money if you sell. If you're holding stock and the stock price goes down, like, so what? when you're selling, like if I knew I needed to sell next week, okay, I'd care about the stock price a little bit, right? If I need to sell 100 shares next week because I need money for something, well, I want the stock price up because I'm selling soon. If I'm buying soon, I want the stock price down. But if I'm just buying and holding and I'm figuring, I'm holding for 2030, like who cares if the stock goes down today? This is just nonsense. But just to be clear, so you guys know my history, I started buying February 2016. It was around $10 a share. It wasn't, not all my stock is from $10 a share, but I started buying in 2016. I've ridden the stock from $10 a share to $480 a share, back down to $108 a share, up, down, Elon this, X that, Twitter that, whatever. Elon's playing too many video games. Elon had a thing with Amber Heard. Like the list of things that happened that drove people. Elon smoked pot on Joe Rogan. It's just an endless stream of stuff. If you lose it over a brief 7% drop, this ain't the stock for you. Sell your stock, sell your Tesla, buy government bonds. They'll be worthless because you didn't support Elon's effort to stop government from going bankrupt, but it'll be a smooth ride until the collapse. You won't have all these ups and downs. You'll just hold your money in you'll have these bonds that'll look like they're fine. They'll go up and down a little bit with interest rates, but it'll be pretty stable. And you won't have anything to worry about until the government fails because we didn't resolve the budget problems. Elon wants to resolve the budget problem so that doesn't happen. But, if you want a smooth ride, buy bonds, don't buy Tesla. Tesla's not the stock for you. How much of a drop is a concern then? I just said it went from 480 to 108, and I didn't panic. How much of a drop do you want? I think that's like 80%, 75%, something like that. And I didn't panic. Like, what are you panicking about? Did something happen at the company? Is there a problem with robotaxi? Is there a problem with car production? Is there a problem with robots? Is there a problem with batteries? Like, there's no news that affects anything material with Tesla. Grow a pair. Let me just look in the chat for a second. In light of recent events, would you still say Trump is the best president of your lifetime? Yeah, I'm going to have to go back on that one. That's fair. I would say he's still better than Kamala and Biden, but because he's done some good things. He's done some good things in foreign policy like he did last time. I think, taking steps toward getting illegals out of the country is a good thing. What he's doing with the universities is a good thing. He's done some good things, but yeah, adding $5 trillion to the debt and probably another $5 trillion before his term is done, not good. Not good. Elon is certainly as toxic against sales in Germany. Okay, stop saying Elon is toxic. Elon isn't doing anything that makes him toxic. How people react to Elon might be a problem, right? And you're contributing to that by blaming Elon for people in Europe who want to destroy their culture by importing large numbers of radical Islamists who want to destroy Western civilization. Stop blaming Elon. Elon's gonna Elon. This is a critical thing again. Elon is gonna Elon. If you've been on this train for a while, Elon's gonna do crazy shit. If you want to be in a company, if you want to invest in a company where the CEO doesn't do crazy shit, this ain't the company for you. Now, if you want a company that says we're going to start building electric vehicles in a world where nobody's ever succeeded and nobody's built a successful car company in 100 years, well, you're not going to get that if you invest in sane and normal. You want boring CEOs, if you want cowardly CEOs, then invest in some other company and you'll get nothing special. But you'll have a smooth ride. You'll have a smooth ride. I want the crazy guy, the Steve Jobs type, who's going to do crazy shit, and we're going to see what happens. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be exciting, and we're going to get game-changing innovation. That's what I invested in. I didn't invest in boring, I could have invested. I mean, I bought Amazon a while back, and I sold it and ended up, all in on Tesla. But, Amazon was doing great things, right? You have great founder-led company doing great things. I'm excited. You got another founder, maybe it's Palantir and Alex Karp. I don't know. Maybe it's NVIDIA and Jensen Huang. Those are good companies. Jensen Huang's not boring. Maybe you need him. I don't know if that stock is overpriced or not. I'm not saying that, but so stop saying Elon is toxic. Stop. You were still up 10x at your worst. No, okay. So the early investment, much more than 10 at my worst. Yeah. But my beginning investment was up 10x. When it went down to 108, I had bought way over 108. Right? I'm up on some, I'm down on other buys. So was that drop associated with either of the two splits? I'm not talking about splits. When I say $10 a share, that's split adjusted. So it was 150 when I bought it because it's 15x. What's more important for Tesla, Optimus, or FSD? In the short term, Optimus isn't going to be meaningful for a few years. Optimus is bigger in the long term. Choosing money over power is a mistake almost everyone makes. Money's the big mansion in Saratoga. I'm from the Saratoga area. That starts falling apart after 10 years. Power is the old stone building that stands for centuries. I like it. Hello, thought criminal. Centuries. I cannot respect someone who does not see the difference. Yes. Yeah. All right. So, Dan Knives. This is a Wall Street analyst, Dan Ives. I call him Damn Knives. He said the Tesla board of directors should take the following 3 steps: new pay package, blah, blah, blah. Guardrails established for the amount of time Musk spends at Tesla as part of pay package. You're going to try to put guardrails on Elon? And why now? He has SpaceX, Neuralink, Boring Company, XAI, X and XAI now merged. I don't know, 12 kids, and plays a lot of video games, and you think that the board needs to control how much time Elon spent? Like now? Now the board needs to spend more time, needs to control the time. Like, what about when he was busy at SpaceX all the time and he wasn't as busy at Tesla? Why wasn't it important then? Where did you come up with that? So Dave Lee, to his credit, says this is crazy. You want Elon to start tracking time and logging his hours on a spreadsheet? Hey, how are you doing that? Either you trust Elon to run Tesla and judge him by the progress of Tesla's most significant long-term projects, namely FSD and Optimus, or you don't trust him, which would be foolish after all the innovation and values created. But if you don't trust Elon, and this has come up, I think I've said this a couple times. If you don't trust Elon, if you don't trust the CEO of a company, why would you invest in that company? If you don't trust Elon, somebody else they want to, did I cover that one? One of the guys I was talking to, he wanted clarity. Clarity? You want clarity from Elon? We want to know from Elon. You want to know from Elon what? What do you want to know from Elon? Are you going to be working on this party? Elon's going to Elon. He's always Elon. Elon's going to cook and he's going to do what he's going to do. If you don't trust the CEO of a company, sell your stock. Invest in a company where you do trust the CEO. Why would you be invested in a company where you don't trust the CEO? This makes absolutely no sense. Right? Dan wants predictable and safe out of an all-time big personality guy. Well, and from a company that's always been 2 alpha. I think you call it 2 alpha, that the stock is twice as volatile or more than the market. Stock has always been very volatile. It always goes up and down. Just stop this drama. So I did a couple polls on X, and this is an example of where people have really lost their minds. Which of Elon's companies need his attention most now, and why? So option 1 is SpaceX fixed Starship. Option 2 is XAI to scale compute. Option 3 is Neuralink to help blind people. And option 4 is Tesla hold my hand. 60% of people, this is a little while ago, 6 hours left in the poll. 60% of people think Elon's companies need the most attention because they want him to hold their hand and tell them everything's going to be okay. Like, do you have a specific thing that you think Elon needs to be at Tesla to do? Robotaxi started. They're working on, they're cooking. They've got the massive cluster in Texas. They've Joe Tetmeyer's posting videos of like the 6 cooling towers on the 6 fans on the cooling tower cooling off the training compute cluster. Do you have no idea what's going on here? We've got more data, more compute, more data, more compute. They're cooking. There's a new model coming that's like 3-4 times the parameters. Like, everything's fantastic. They're building Optimus. They got the next generation Optimus hardware platform set. They're going to start doing that. Elon posted about the next generation Optimus already. That it's going to be amazing. Like, what are you talking about? There's nothing that needs Elon's attention right now at Tesla. I'm sure something comes up. He's at Tesla 10 hours a week, solving this problem here, solving that problem there. But it's small stuff right now. But SpaceX, how many times I don't think they've landed a booster in a while. They've had a couple of static fires blow up. They blew up a launch pad or a testing area. There's a lot of problems with Starship right now. I think they're going to resolve it, but maybe Elon needs to be at SpaceX figuring out what the hell's going wrong with Starship. That seems to be a much bigger issue for SpaceX than I want Elon to hold my hand and tell me everything's going to be okay with the stock. XAI, like I really think people don't appreciate this. XAI is competing with OpenAI, Google Gemini. Meta is paying $100 million a reason. Meta is poaching AI researchers from OpenAI, paying them like $100 million each. They're giving guys $100 million contracts to come work for Meta. Okay, there is a really hot competition to get AI working, like crazy hot competition to get AI working. Elon's spending the money on compute. Zuckerberg is spending the money on compute and buying engineers. Like $100 million contract. Are you kidding me? Right? So it's really important that XAI scale compute, and they're building another cluster. I think they're at 200,000 GPUs in one cluster. They're building a 1,000,000 GPU cluster. They're shipping a power plant from Europe. They can't get a power plant in America in time for when they need it. So they're shipping a power plant, a gas generating, a natural gas electricity generating power plant from Europe so they can get their compute going. Because this is like, basically it's existential. Not only for XAI, but for America. That AI gets solved, and it gets solved by the right people. Because if Sam Altman's in charge of the AI, we get AGI, artificial superintelligence, and Sam Altman created it. Not clear that's going to be good for humanity. When Elon in control, we got our best chance of having an AI that's good for humanity. But you're worried about your stock? And this isn't like 3-5 years from now. This is like next year or two. This is like high pressure stuff. This is crazy stuff. And Neuralink is about to help blind people. Like, do you care about people at all? Did you see the video of how they're helping people who are paralyzed, people with like severe ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease? Like, do you care about anything? And people are like 60% are like, hold my hand, I'm worried about my stock. Grow a pair. What the hell? Market open and we're up 7.5%. Seriously? That's hilarious. Younger people with a little free cash want instant gratification. I don't know if it's age. I think that I don't think it's. I mean, Randy is not young. Randy's older than me. Hope we get unmanned flight to Mars in 2026. Yeah, exactly. This is why Starship's so important. We need to get Starship running so we can get the first flights to Mars. Tesla's running on autopilot. Really, nothing that needs to dress from him. Yep. Tesla is up a bit. Yeah, would trust Sam with my dog. would trust Sam with my pet dog. Okay. Oh, we got Mark Plot and Mark Patashnik. Great to see you guys. Okay. And then the other poll I ran was, do you want Elon or do you want a full-time CEO? This is, I've seen it. So, we need Elon as a full-time CEO. Elon's never been a full-time CEO. I mean, there were periods when they're getting the Model 3 ramp going and Elon's sleeping in the factory and you got like 120 hours a week of Elon. But I'll take 10 hours a week of Elon at Tesla versus 80 hours a week of anyone else. And the way I do these polls, that there's always a third choice that's meant to be a joke, and I hope these people were joking, right? But 72% said, "Yeah, I'll take Elon for 10 hours a week." And other CEO full time, I think Dan Ives wanted. What did Dan Ives want? Dan Ives wanted. They wanted. I don't think he had a specific amount of time, but other CEO full time, 18%. Who? Who's this other CEO that you think is out there that at 80 hours a week would do a better job running Tesla than Elon? Who? You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. These guys are, they don't want to vote or they're just having fun with it. They want to see the results. This is like the see results choice. Maybe there's some people who actually want Ross Gerber and Gary Black as co-CEOs. I doubt that. Elon has an apartment at Giga Texas. It's possible. I don't know. So, obviously we want Elon as we want as much as Elon as we can get. But look, I'm all in. Like my wealth is tied up in Tesla stock. If I could invest in Neuralink, I've been hoping to invest in Neuralink. I would. If the cost of investing in SpaceX wasn't so high, I would have invested in SpaceX. As an IT specialist, we need to get on the ball with AI in the United States. We're going to be left behind. Yeah. So Look, no one is financially more dependent on Tesla than me, right? I'm all in, right? I make some money making these videos. I make some money on X, but I got Social Security coming in a few years, right? But I'm pretty dependent on Tesla stock, but I care about the missions. And the missions, you know, the SpaceX mission, the Neuralink mission, the XAI mission. The XAI mission is like I mean, like, none of this matters if artificial super intelligence kills us all, right? How much are you going to care about your Tesla stock if artificial intelligence decides to kill humanity, right? Maybe getting the best AI developed by the right people is safer than, you know, that's just my opinion. I know some of you would rather their stock go up and humanity be extinguished. I don't know. Sam, Randy is full of crap on sub from years ago. Hello from Argentina. Tesla's 100% of my portfolio. Buen dia, or was it buenas noches? No, it's buenos dias. Um, people are hating on Randy in the chat. Um, Elon and President Milei. Yeah, no, President Milei is busy with Argentina. Is doing great work. So, I mean, I think these missions are huge. Um, Getting humanity to Mars is absolutely huge. Tesla, the fundamental missions of Tesla are well on course to happening. You still want Elon there to accelerate innovation, to make sure we stay ahead, to get things done right. Real world AI, like, we don't know, are large language models going to be the step to super intelligence, or do we need real world AI to get there? And that's why having XAI as one play on artificial intelligence and Tesla's real world AI as the other play. And Tesla, Elon gets to bring them together and put Grok in the cars and Grok and Optimus. So there will always be more missions, but Elon has identified some really critical missions, and you can tell they're critical missions because he's able to recruit really talented people who are willing to work really hard for those missions. And I want to hit on this point again. I've mentioned this in a couple of videos, but I want to hit on this point again. Going back to the politics. So let's go back to the politics. Got the where's the Elon one? Sorry. This is Elon up here, Jeffrey Epstein, whatever. If we don't fix the budget, if America goes bankrupt, I'm not sure how much your Tesla stock's going to be worth, right? We've got if there's one of the missions that Elon has decided is he needs to save America, but there's been so much hate directed against Elon. Steve Bannon wanted to deport him. I covered that in a video. I'm like, all right, you're MAGA. You're really unhappy at Elon. You want to deport him. You want him to leave the country. It's nonsense. But let's suppose he left the country. Where do you think he's gonna go? If Elon had to leave America, he'd go to China, right? Do you want Elon on Team China? Is that what you want? I'm not that worried about Elon on Team China. I mean, it wouldn't be good for my stock, but if Elon went to China, he'd have all the electricity generation he needs for developing AI. He would have full support for accelerating the transition to sustainable energy, for building batteries, for deploying solar. You want to build rockets? Chinese government would love Elon to help them build rockets. Chinese government would love that. They would be stoked. He wouldn't be able to bring SpaceX with him, just to be clear. SpaceX would stay in the United States. If Trump and Bannon want to nationalize SpaceX and take it away from private control, SpaceX will stop functioning in 6 months because half the engineering team will leave. They're there for the mission. Trump and Bannon don't care about going to Mars. Well, if the mission's gone, the engineers, that's what the engineers are. They're there for Elon. They're there for the mission. You take the mission away, you take Elon away, half the engineers are gone tomorrow. Well, 6 months. Just joined. Who do we think would do space solar? Tesla or SpaceX? I don't understand the question. I don't think solar in space is that critical yet. SpaceX already does solar on every Starlink satellite. Mark wonders if somebody would want to kill Elon if he jumped ship. I'm sure he's been a target for years. Elon has one hell of a security. We don't even know how good Elon's security team is. Like, there's the ones you see and there's the ones you don't see. There were 2 attempts, I don't know, last year, and they caught him before they got within 20 minutes of Giga Texas. They got a good team. Elon could just buy a $5 million gold card to come back in. Yeah. No, I don't think that would work. It's a good try, but somebody needs to save America. Politicians are not. Yeah. So people like Elon shouldn't do this. Elon should go back and run his companies and let somebody else take care of this problem. Like no one else is stepping up. The Republicans aren't saving the country from bankruptcy. The Democrats aren't saving the country from bankruptcy. Trump isn't saving the country from bankruptcy. Mark Zuckerberg isn't like who do you think like if Elon's stepping up, you should be like, thank God someone's doing something because I'm sitting on my ass here watching this show, right? Solar isn't what ships with solar sails. I don't know. Yeah, Elon may go to no, he's not going to go to Russia because Russia doesn't have the electricity generation. Russia doesn't have the engine. China has massive engineering talent. They have the solar, they have the electricity generation. Is DOGE still Yes, DOGE is still investigating government spending. And coming back to that for if you missed it, Elon being involved in politics, what's coming with the America Party is the 2026 midterm elections. And I believe, based on what Elon says here, the fundamental impediment to shutting down many of the fraudulent NGOs was some Republicans were in on the crime. Okay, well, Elon probably knows some of the Republicans were in on the crime. And in the 2026 midterm elections, if you were running against one of those Republicans, and it just happened to drop that his family got $100 million from an NGO that was funded by the government, and that dropped a week before the election, that might be a problem for that guy in the election. Would the America Party release the Epstein files? I don't think the America Party would not get to the position of having access to them until at least after 2028 if they run a presidential candidate, which we don't know if they will. We don't know whether the files will be erased or what happens there. I'd say Elon's team is the best qualified to find something that people tried to hide if if it was on computer files. Will Elon take over the mega movement? No. Elon will never have sufficient influence over the government spending. The closest we ever got to a third party, which could put a president in, was Ross Perot. Elon is like 100 times better than Ross Perot. Don't compare him to Ross Perot. Elon buys a small island. Elon deploys the world's largest drone defense shield. The world profits from Elon. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Yeah, Doge has been finding all the ways the government, like Mark said, the government isn't doing anything with it. Thought criminal. When Elon recognized and exposed this uniparty system, made me respect him even more. Yep. All people need is a good enough sales pitch to shift enough allegiance from one of the two parties to. It's not. So there's two levels of this. One is just winning some local elections, some House elections, some Senate elections in 2026. The other is I think the Democratic Party is ready for a death blow, and the American Party could be, one of the top two parties, and the Democrat Party would disappear. Mattia says Malaya is showing how to save a cluster F of government, just lower government spending. I think that the entrenched nature of the problem in the United States is more powerful than it was in Argentina. I'm not saying that was nothing in Argentina, and Malaya is doing great work, but I think Argentina is a much smaller country. The level of the level of nested corruption in the U.S. government is just hard to believe. Imagine you could beam space power down to each megapack. I think that Elon has said that space-based solar is not necessary, and it's not necessarily it's not needed. You can just generate solar on Earth. There's lots of land. Just put the not if you're going to generate solar power in space, you're going to use it in space. Tesla could solve solar by becoming a power generation company that supplies the different power grids. They won't let him. You don't understand. The utilities do not want competition in energy generation. The utility companies have a lot of political power. This is why, like, look, if it's not possible for Elon to get done what he needs to get done to accomplish the missions of getting us to Mars and solving AI, he might be better placed to do it in China. Good morning, Mamie. Mega Make America Great. Elon is so on next level. It seems he was sent by the simulators. Yeah, I often think that we're all in a simulation. We're all non-player characters, and Elon is the player character. Like we're watching, we're Elon is the player character in the game. The issue with Elon pushing candidates is the last time the party was caught off guard was the Tea Party, and the Republican Party knows how to stop that. There was no centralizing powerful figure behind the Tea Party. The Tea Party was a dispersed movement. Democrats had to occupy Wall Street, and it didn't work out. How about ZEV? Is that zero emission vehicles? I don't know what the point of that is. I don't understand the question, Cubus. How much in just interest will we be paying on a just probably $50 trillion debt by 2030, 30% of taxpayer revenue? Yeah, it's in that ballpark. I think it. I think we're probably looking at $2 trillion interest payments soon, and that might be on $5 trillion of revenue, so it could be 40% of taxpayer revenue. Oh, Elon is an NPC in your simulation. Okay, I'm sure you believe that. Um, would you really be that boring? Like, are any of us really that player characters? Our lives are pretty boring, aren't we? Our lives are boring compared to what Elon's doing. Elon's clearly the player character in the simulation. So, all right, I'm looking to see if there's anything else in the chat. I think we've covered. Let's just the central points, just to cover what was going on. Is the Epstein files got dumped, as in hidden, and the MAGA coalition is struggling with that, and it may be a big hit to Trump's power and Trump's influence and the Republican Party's credibility and the Republican Party's chances in 2026 midterms, because a lot of people signed on to Trump, and now that's a problem. The zero emission vehicle credits are going away, but that doesn't really matter because Robotaxi doesn't rely on zero emission vehicle credits. They're not going away completely. It'll be a big hit to those credits. Elon attracts the best. We'll pull. So the issue, I think, with the 2026 midterms is you've got to identify the races that you want to run. And I think they're pretty good at that. Where are the incumbents weak? 50-50 Republican Democrat, knock off 5 in either party in the House. So neither party has a majority. Knock off 2 senators in either party. So neither party has a majority. And then you're a decisive factor. So first you have to identify the races. Then you have to get candidates. Getting good candidates is hard. But if there's one guy in the world who's good at recruiting really talented people who are willing to work really hard, that's Elon Musk. So 301.90 plus 8. So yeah, whatever. Stock's up, but it's just silly that people freak out about the stock. So anyway, I think that's a challenge. And then if you actually get people elected, my prediction is that the Republicans and Democrats will choose to work with each other to increase spending rather than to work with the America Party to decrease spending. And that takes us to 2028. And that's when the America Party runs strong and probably knocks the Democratic Party out. I think the Democratic Party is on their last legs. I think the Democratic Party is basically done. I don't see how they survive. Being the party of transgender narco terrorists. I mean, I was talking to somebody. There was this woman, I was in a space on X, and this woman who's got an accent. She's from India, I think. She's got this accent. And she's like, I'm only get paid $30,000 to be a student at a university by a federal grant. Like, wait. Let me see if I got this straight. You're a foreigner. You're getting paid $30,000 a year to be a student, and you're complaining that it's not enough. Like, my kids went to universities. They didn't get paid to be students. Like, I'm not saying that there isn't a place for that, but I don't think that's going to resonate with the American voter that, we need to be paying more foreigners to be students at our universities. Like, it's just like, what? So, and that's like the Democrats are like, oh, you can't cut spending because we've got all these foreign students at our universities that we need to pay. Well, they have children. They have to take care of their children. What? Like, do you know normal people? I don't understand. The Democratic Party is the party of 6'4" men playing in women's sports and um, narco, Latin drug gang members who are engaged in human smuggling, and pro Hamas guys who are students, here on a student visa at an elite, like, if there's places at these universities for Hamas protesters, Hamas supporters to come, like, could we make some room for Americans to go to our elite universities? If this third party is 100% by the Constitution and law, I'm for it. I think the third party is about getting spending under control and making sure we have room to grow electricity generation so we can solve AI and solve other problems and grow the economy. I don't think the party is focused on constitutional issues. Cuba says without ZEV, Q1 2025 Tesla would be on minus. Okay, I didn't say ZEV's zero emission vehicle credits are all going away. And who cares? Tesla has $37 billion in the bank. They can take a bad quarter. They can take 2 bad quarters. They can take 10 bad quarters. The future of Tesla is about Robotaxi and Optimus. I don't understand what I'm supposed to comment about Mark Cuban for. What does Mark Cuban have to do with anything? I'm seeing a bunch of questions about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban what? Mark Cuban Shark Tank? Mark Cuban saying something positive about the America Party? Who cares? The idea that there's these big figures, whether it's Vivek Ramaswamy, or I think that we're going to see Andrew Yang involved with the America Party. Elon followed Andrew Yang shortly after the America Party thing got floated, and Andrew Yang said something positive about it. And Andrew Yang has experience doing third party stuff. So I think Andrew Yang might be. And Elon and Andrew Yang are on the same page on universal basic income, even though I don't agree with them, whatever. But it's not about having some big name. It's about identifying candidates in those races in that House district and that Senate seat and winning those races. That's how you're going to win, not by having some famous guy at the head of the party. I think Cuban sent something positive. He's not on board. Your take on Democrats being all trans and Hamas people is short-sighted. There's more to the party than that. That's the image they're projecting. You got AOC like going to the Hamas protest. I mean, I think she was with the Latin drug gang member who was engaged in human smuggling, or the pro Hamas protester, and she's like posing with them. Like, who are the Democrats who are for rational policy that jibe with the American people? They're not standing out. They're not standing out. Have I booked the website Redlick 2020? I'm not running. I'm not running. Yang and robotics will force UBI and productivity. It's not like, it doesn't matter who's at the top of the party. It matters who the candidates are. It matters what the issues are, and that what the people in that congressional district are concerned about. You don't run your campaign on something that people don't care about in the vote. You want to figure out what do the voters care about in this district, and let's sell them on that. The core issue is get the budget under control and get the economy growing. Right? Electricity generation growing so we can get the economy going. Those are the two core issues, and getting the budget under control is the number one overwhelming issue. You're not going to have the America Party saying, we're the pro gun rights party, and then they're going to force every candidate to be pro gun rights. That's not how it's going to be. Yeah, so I'm not obsessed about Andrew Yang being involved or Mark Cuban being involved. That doesn't matter. What matters is Elon's really smart, and Elon builds a good team, and they need to identify good candidates. And those candidates, once they get in office, have to stick to the guns and stay loyal to the team and so on. Because, the first thing that happens after the election is the Republican Party will try to bribe these guys to join the team, to switch parties. And what are the rules? What are the new, when they adopt rules at the beginning of the session? Are you able to influence the rules so that instead of having the baseline being 3% or 5% growth in spending, the baseline is no, we spend what we spent last year. If we spend anything more than last year, then you can have a filibuster. That changes a lot. Make it so if you don't increase the budget, you can't filibuster, but if you do increase the budget, you can be filibuster. That'll change a lot. So, all right, I rambled too long. Wait, I'm all about budget, but the third party could also be used to make sure stuff is done by rule and law. All right, then you're not on the same page with what this party's about. There's a very clear core mission. Don't go bankrupt. Okay? That's it. That's like number one. We don't want America to go bankrupt. That's constitutional, by the way. Full faith and credit clause. J.D. Vance is the number one candidate in 2028, and that is a fact. Probably not for the America Party. Where's J.D. Vance on the Epstein files, by the way? Will there be tariffs on tacos? I don't know. No one has a crystal ball. I don't think Vance is joining the American Party. No, JD's a smart guy. I like JD, but we'll see. I mean, maybe JD will, maybe MAGA will collapse. All right. So thanks everybody so much. Thanks Mark in particular. Thank you, B, for showing up. Wish everybody well. And XAI is having a release of Grok 4. It's Wednesday, 8 or 9 p.m. Pacific time. It'll be next morning for me. I'm really excited about that. That's gonna be a big deal. Make sure I don't know if we're gonna understand it, but make sure you watch it. Thanks everybody so much. Bye-bye.